Hey, what's up guys, welcome to the video, and oh boy are we in for a long one. Alright, so this has taken several hours to complete. I started at 2 o'clock in the morning. It is now almost 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm just now getting started. There were a lot of adjustments that I needed to make to my formula, whatever you want to call it, back screen, and we're going to go into that. So guys, if you like these reviews, make sure you give a like. If you don't like the reviews anymore, please give a dislike. That would be much appreciated. Anyways, let's go ahead and get to the first 4 units. Remember guys, we're in for a long ride. So Balthier now has a Neo Vision upgrade. This is not a new version of Balthier. As you can see, the old sprite is there and the new Neo Vision sprite is there as well. So it's the same Balthier, just that he gets a Neo Vision upgrade. So he can bolting strike frame chain. On the JB side, it's not real bolting strike. It's just kind of like bolting strike, but it's kind of like off-key. Bolting strike. So it is what it is on that. He has 2% TDH and 100% true to wield, which is pretty much equal, I think, in terms of that. In both forms, it's very nice. And I put a question mark behind the part where he can cap his own chains, because I just don't see the point why would you put a chaining move and a finishing move on the same unit on the same kit if he can't cap his own chain. So I assume, don't come back to this video and say, oh, we can't do it. I don't know yet. So he potentially can cap his own chain. Okay. And also he has 100% beast and avian killer and brave shift form. And something I did not know, which another thing I probably should have adjusted, actually I didn't know that he had a bunch of other imbues he could have done in his old kit. So you can imbue a whole bunch of other things, but his thunder is basically focused on thunder now, which is what it is. You can be a thunder finisher, you can be a thunder chainer. There's a lot of things going on with his kit. And it seems like they're trying to bank off of Clayom's success of being really good units, because well, there's been a lot of units recently that can at least attempt to cap their own chains, like Clayom can. So I think Balthier is another one of those units that can do that. Unfortunately, I really honestly wish he had a way to get quadcast, because I'm still looking for the unit that can chain with Irvine. Irvine can quadcast chain bolting strike, but he is the only one who can do it. So I was really hoping that he might have had the option of doing that. I'm really hoping someday that there would be another unit that can chain with Irvine. Sorry for the sniffling, I'm really trying not to. Anyways, I don't know if he's as strong, but I think you want to build him as a TTH unit, not true to wield. So you really want to have his, obviously you can't build him to Neo Vision unless you have his STMR anyways. Should probably equip his STMR and give a two-handed weapon. True to wield is not really needed. I don't think he has a 6x cap. Anyways, if he can't cap his own chains, he's just a very confused unit. He wants to be a chainer. His chaining modifiers are decent, but he also has a lot of finishing stuff too. And for some reason, he still has that one move where he unlocks. Even in the Neo Vision era, he has a move in his Neo Vision form that unlocks his. It's like a 5x mod with ignore defense, and also it gets like 35x mod with passive. I don't really understand the significance of wanting to do this move, but even in his brave shift form, it has a move that unlocks that for whatever reason. It's weaker than his other finishing move, so I just don't understand why it's there. But maybe the ignore defense is a possibility to make it stronger. He has no imperils in his brave shift form, so you need to do that beforehand. Yeah, you need to do that well beforehand, and you need to time that correctly. But you can brave shift in the first turn, but you wouldn't want to do that anyways, like I said. Unless you have someone imperil for you, then of course you would do that anyways. He has 35% physical evasion in brave shift form, but why I say what's the point of it? Because he does not have permanent infinite turns on his brave shift, so he'll eventually the game will shift him back into his normal form after a few turns. So there really is no point in having him have that higher evasion count when you can't really take advantage of it. Like, oh, if he had permanent, if he could had infinite turns, you could just make him to like a weird ass 100% provoke dodge finishing unit, kind of like Havan is, but it's just not going to be the case. So I just thought of his rotation as best as I could. So turn 1, of course, you're in his normal form. And do a Thunder Imbue times 2 because that's actually his highest modifier in terms of chaining. And also his Magnus ability, so there's that. And I put a question mark there because again I don't know if he can self-cap his own chain. And turn 2 you want to Brave Shift and use this cooldown, which gives him 300% attack and among other things. 2 times 64 MP chaining ability and also his Magnus ability, which is also a chaining ability. So in terms of usefulness, I'm just gonna give him a 6 out of 10 because sure okay. We're gonna make this fair. If he can cap his own chain, he's a 7 out of 10. If he can't, 6 out of 10. And the reason why he's even at a 6 is because at least he has a bunch of elements. He has a lot of elemental variety, and he has permanent triple cast, which allows him to use all of his old moves. So you can imbue him. Just the negative thing is that if you imbue him with any of those other elements, they do not have a stronger element or a stronger imperil tied to them. They're still weak imperils. So keep that in mind, guys. The final score 6 out of 10 or 7 out of 10 depending. Moving on to Larsa, who honestly I thought was a female the whole time until apparently the wiki told me it was male, so it was a trap the entire time to me. Whoops. So the STMR is okay. I don't understand. I think it's gonna. If I were to get it, maybe this is just me. It's gonna be another one of those STMRs that just sits around and it does nothing for me. I really feel like it's gonna be. Sorry for all the squeaking. My chair is very squeaky. Anyways, yeah, I feel like it's just another one of those STMRs that will just sit around and sit and do nothing because I don't know what like. It's decent on support units, I guess, for the defensive side, but I just don't really see a need to use it. I don't really see a need to get it. But anyways, so Larsa is another unit that can do Perfect Dispel. There are only a few units in the game that can do that, and only a few units in the game that can do that fully, because Calmain has one, but it's only for certain stats. And also Vaughn has a Perfect Dispel full one, and also Serena has a full one. And I believe someone else does. There's someone else I think has it. I can't remember who else. But if you remember who else I didn't list has a Perfect Dispel, leave that down in the comment section down below. I think Kryla. I think Kryla's one of them, but that's on global. Anyways, his Love Burst gives some healing, some MP, I think, and also gives a 5k HP barrier, which I think on the next turn or the next 2 turns or whatever gives a 3k HP barrier. So it's very nice actually. It almost replenishes the barrier that you may have lost from the damage that the boss is going to make you take. So that's pretty nice. I like that. I like the idea of replenishing barriers. It's a very nice addition to that Limit Burst. And innate dual wield, so it's nice, I guess. You can equip other things. To equip 2 stabs or equip the dagger and something like that. It's nice. 50% defense true dual wield, and you might be asking, how do you increase defense true dual wield? Well, if you have Gabranth, the Neo Vision version, you could use his TMR, which gives 50% defense true dual wield, and you would give it to Larsa. If you wanted to do that, of course. And with his SBB, he gets passive stop and charm immunity, which is nice. And another really crazy thing, on the 8 turn cooldown, so it's basically an emergency cooldown, because 8 turns is a while, 99k healing, and also 9k MP restore, which is pretty crazy. Basically gonna restore you to full, because I don't think there's any units right now that can even go over 4. I think maybe you can go to 40k HP, but I don't. Maybe with Gabranth, like the new Gabranth, maybe you can go to 40k HP. With if you go to EX3, maybe you can go over 40k. I would not be surprised. I'd not be surprised if you see a 40k HP Gabranth on Twitter or something at some point in the next few days. But even then, 99k healing is going to heal you all the way to full easily. There's a lot of negatives though when it comes to Larsa, and the biggest thing for me that sticks out like a huge, even worse than a sore thumb, is that you need to unlock other healing moves like AoE raise, for example, something that you would want to have at the ready, The start only lasts for 5 turns, by the way. It just doesn't. Oh, it's just unlocks permanently. No, it only lasts for 5 turns. So like, that's a big bad situation. And Larsa has all three mitigations: magical, physical, and general, but it's only 35%, so not so good. And also can't cure stop AoE unless you unlock the move. So if you are stuck in a situation where you may have forgotten to unlock the move, unlock sorry. See, I already fell for it. Unlock his other side of the kit. Then I guess you're just stopped and you have no way of doing it unless you brought someone else who can remove stop. Or you just have everybody who's immune to stop anyways. So, as I wrote down in that optimal rotation, you want to use that move because that's the one that unlocks her for 5 turns. You unlock a whole bunch of new moves. I don't know. Another UOCable unit that gets shafted by a weird kit that it didn't need to exist. Why did they need to unlock this stuff? So just based off of needing to constantly unlock these new healing moves over and over and over again, and they're not even like interesting. They're just basic things like AoE raise, which a bunch of healers have without needing to unlock anything. So in terms of that, I think a 4 out of 10 is definitely necessary to give. I can't give anything higher than that. And the perfect dispel and that emergency heal are and all in the limit burst are like the only thing that are making it so he does not become a 1 out of 10. Because I was just not really impressed by this unit at all. If you have Kalmia, if you have Lena even, because Lena got enhancements and they're okay. She was already okay even before, so if you have Lena, you don't need this. You definitely don't need this. Lena is way better than Larsa, and that's pretty sad that a unit that is, I think, nearly 2 years old at this point is better than a new unit. And that's how they treat UOCable units nowadays. They make them have very obvious flaws that you hate getting unbannered because they're basically just filler. Honestly, I feel like Larsa is just filler. If you had Garnet, I think Garnet is even better. So it is what it is. 4 out of 10 with that one. I'm sorry, guys. I just don't see it. I don't really see a good thing with this kit. Moving on, Loren. This had to take a lot of editing in this page. I'm already at 12 minutes, so I'm trying to speed this up a little bit here. So Loren or Loren. I'm just going to call her Loren for the sake of the video timing. 85% breaks on a cooldown, and also they recast every several turns. So even if the boss dispels itself, she'll cast the 85% break at the start of the turn anyways, which is very nice. And one of the best things about her kit actually is something that's not really in her kit, but in terms of game mechanics. She's the second unit. The first one was Sakura, Deiji Sakura. They have infinite turns on Brave Shift, so she will not turn back after a few turns. You can turn back on your own. Anyways, it has 120% Wind and Thunder and Peril, and also Wind and Thunder Imbue in Brave Shift form. She has Thunder and Wind attacks in her normal form, but I don't think they imbue. And she has some finishing moves, so I'm assuming that she has another unit that can self-cap. I'm assuming so, I don't know yet. I'm just assuming that she is, because it's really strange how she would have one-hit moves but not be able to self-cap them. And another thing is that she has a really weird, awkward thing where she can 130% imbue, or 130% imperil, but only for 1 turn. So you kind of hope that it's kind of like a slow move because it's another one-hit move. So hopefully, if you want to use the 130% imperil, but it's a one-hit move, so it's kind of like you're not going to be able to cap with that one-hit move if you put it in first, unless it's really slow. And she has really ridiculous mods, which we'll get into why it doesn't. It's a lot less ridiculous now that I see it, but she has a 3 times and 100 times mod in Brave Shift form, and also 94 times mod in normal form. Where her normal form chaining move gives a bunch of modifier buffs to her older stuff, but you wouldn't want to use those. Even though it's 25 times mod, it's a lot of her older abilities, I believe. So, but the problem Oh, before we get into the problem, her limit burst and her brave shift form does give 15 times mod to that move. So now it's 18 times and 115 times, which is the highest modifier in the game at this point. But there is a big, and I mean really big flaw, and I had to edit this, of course, in. She does not have the 6 times cap, unless I don't know. She already has enhancements, and they were really old. I don't think the 6 times cap was a thing back then. So, dang. I was really excited for her. I was like, she's gonna be my main DPS now. Until I find out she doesn't have the 6 times cap, which makes her, even though she has high mods, I don't think she's gonna be in the top echelon anymore. That really sucks. Because I was really excited because I can make her EX3 right away. I have tons of tickets to make her EX3. After holding onto a bunch of EX unit tickets for over the years. No 6 times cap makes it so she's not going to be dealing nearly as much damage as other units, but I think she'll still be at least in the top 10. Probably not top 5 though, because of no 6 times cap, but maybe I could be wrong. But she still can be your side DPS and breaker. So there's that. There are some flaws, not very many, other than the 6 times cap was the biggest flaw. But other than that, her 5 to 7 kit can be both ignored. Her old kit on her normal form, you can pretty much just ignore all those moves. And she's a paid unit on JP, like I mentioned, so most likely not many people are going to have her on JP. And she may, this is all speculation of course for this part, and I don't usually put speculation in the video, but I have an Exhibit A. Remember how hyped I was for DKC and his strong modifiers, at least back then, and how we never got them on global? That's my Exhibit A that I'm gonna use this as proof that they may delay Loren or Loren for a bit longer, just because their modifiers are so high. But without the 6 times cap, maybe they won't anymore. But there are some more pros. She has 100% aquatic, stone, and undead killer in her brave shift form, and also 150% true to wield in her brave shift form, and 100% in her normal form. Maybe someday they'll make a like a materia or some other item that gives a unit 6 times cap. Wouldn't that be something? I'm pretty sure. I'm actually surprised they haven't made that already. So maybe in the future, there might be a Team R or S Team. It'll definitely be an S Team R. Let's just assume it'll be an S Team R. An S Team R that'll give 6 times cap, and if you can put that on her, she'd be really great. Until that happens, or maybe if she gets updated, which the game is online now, so if they wanted to put 6 times cap on her, they would have done it. So it's really unfortunate that she doesn't have the 6 times cap. I was really looking forward to her the most. She's still gonna be super strong. It's just she's gonna be lacking that oomph because a lot of other units have 6 times cap and she does not. So she definitely gets a 9 out of 10 for me in terms of just overall huge breaks. You know, very high modifiers, can be your wind or thunder partner chainer with maybe like Cloud or something, which is nice. Sure, Cloud doesn't have the 6 times cap either, but he has a lot of other things he can do, so maybe she'll be really strong. I'm not really sure yet. I don't have any information other than just looking at her mods. But yeah, I'll say a 9 out of 10. It would have been a 10 out of 10, which would be my first 10 out of 10 if she has a 6 times cap. So just keep that in mind, guys. So let's move on to the last unit in the main event of the first ever physical cover / provoke physical cover tank thing guy. Yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. It was S Team R's heavy armor, which is basically a callback to his other forms S Team R, which was a helmet. It says very similar things. 500 HP, 15 attack, and the helmet had 18 attack, so it's like really low attack, but it has really high tankiness. 115 defense, 65 spirit, which is nice, and 30% HP. So all those things are really nice to have. Definitely very nice to have. And oh, the music has stopped. That's how long we've been going. Anyways, so the STMR is pretty good. He does have, and they went back to this thing where now Axstar had it for katana, now he has it for swords, a break gauge damage move. So this is what they're gonna do nowadays. They're gonna make Soul didn't have it for some reason, but he has it, and so they're gonna do that. They're gonna try and nerf all the barrage stuff because they don't want to do that because they can't monetize that. So they want to put it on new units, so then you can pull. You have to pull for them to break gauge. I'm not really liking that idea too much, but he does have Stardust Ray chaining and also has Bolting Strike. Remember, this is not the real Bolting Strike frames. And Imbue and Imperial Dark in Brave Shield form, which is very nice. So he has very high chaining. He definitely has pretty high chaining, but I don't know if I actually don't know if he has a 6 times cap. I actually have to look that up. He does not have it either. So maybe the 6 times cap is just too strong and they don't want to put on new units anymore. Because their modifiers are already really high. Because he doesn't have the 6 times cap either. So that's really strange. He's a new unit. You'd expect him to have it. I guess not. Yeah, he does have 200% defense true to wield with TMR equipped. And finally, they've done it right just because he's a new unit, of course. He has defense scaling chaining. So Rip Vossler, who is in the same game as this Gabranth, and his Vossler's moves were not based off of his defense or spirit or anything like that. They were based off of his attack. It was really unfortunate, but now we finally have someone who can base their attacks off of their defense, which is really nice. And I'm really interested to see how that's going to turn out. And a huge benefit, actually, I didn't even see this coming, because he has triple cast in his Rave Shift form, so he can actually Dark Chain if you have. I don't know if there's any Dark Chainers really that are meta. I can't think of any right now, but maybe you could imbue him with something else. But you can triple cast, so you're provoking, or because he does have provoke, and or your cover tank can now be your DPS too. So it's another one of those role compression type things where if you need physical cover, you can also be your DPS. Now, like how Vaughn is, several things. Now, I guess Final Fantasy XII is a role compression game because there's a lot of role compression units in this franchise, like Zarbaroth on the global side, who can be your provoker and things like that too. So yeah, Gabranth is really impressive in that role, but there are some flaws. So no physical cover besides his cooldown. I had to put that in because I just found that before I recorded this. He has no on-demand cooldown. It's a cooldown. I mean, on-demand cover. It's on a cooldown. So yeah, you have to plan ahead with that one. And if he gets dispelled, you are in for a world of hurt if you need a physical cover and you're in the Brave Shift form, because it has 1 turn cooldown. You can't just Brave Shift back if you already used your move for that turn. That's a big yikes. And he also has no physical evasion, so you're basically making him as tanky as possible instead. I can't really think of any other cons besides that, because he has a lot of mitigation, a lot of elemental resistance, like fire and dark resistance, and he has really good chaining. So like, he does have 70% provoke, by the way. He has 100% provoke in terms of ability, which again is a major flaw if he gets dispelled, but he can provoke, and at the same time he can also, be auto-provoking with 70% provoke chance. So you could just put on something with that. Probably just imagine that he has 50% provoke, so then you can just put the Moogle Charm on for the 100%. Just pretend that he has 50% with the Moogle Charm, or 70% with other things that you may have. Anyways, I think that he's really amazing for a first physical cover tank, but the biggest problem, and it's not really so much of a con to him, it's a con in general. There's not very many needs for physical cover nowadays. Almost no fights need physical cover. The Master Crueler was one of them, I guess. The Master Crueler is definitely one of them. But other than that, really, there has not been very many physical cover needs lately. So in terms of that, unfortunately, it's going to hurt his score a little bit. It's not going to signify too much because his kit is really strong. They went all out with this guy. They made sure to say, hey, this is the new standard for cover tanks, or just tanks in general. This is the standard now. You can beat DPS. You can put up mitigation. You can, do a bunch of things. So he is getting an 8 out of 10 from me. It would be a 9 out of 10 if physical cover tanks were much more needed. But remember, guys, he can also be your provoker. And the main reason why he's at 8 out of 10 is because Vaughn still exists. Vaughn is the premier breaker / finisher / dodge provoker, so he has a bit of competition with that. And I still feel like Vaughn is still going to be useful even after this guy's banner is gone and came and went. So guys, I think we're done here, and this is probably one of the longest reviews ever, but there was 4 units, so I'm really hoping you guys watched it all the way through, or at least watched mostly through. If you watch all the way through to the end, I really appreciate that. That really makes me happy that you'd watch all the way through. I'm not the most entertaining guy in the world. I like to try to be unbiased and informative and engaging in that regard. Be more educational. So make sure you guys liking these reviews if you like them, or if you don't like them, please give a dislike. Watch all the way through. Type in hashtag Loren. Hashtag Loren will be the keyword for the ending of this video. I'm sorry for keeping you guys so long. I just there was so much going on with this one, so it's making me really worried that this is 26 minutes long. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here soon, but I'm just letting you guys know that I'm hoping that you guys will. Don't be afraid that it's 26 minutes. Please don't be afraid. I think it might be worth your time, and I'm probably gonna put timestamps. So thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.